Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am super excited because I am doing Spookopoly and this is my first time participating. So to be honest, I'm kind of doing this on a whim because I didn't plan on participating in this. Yesterday I'm pretty sure the board was put up and I came across the video on a whim. And when I saw it, I had seen it before on somebody else's channel that had done it, but I'd never watched a video from the person who created it. And I came across the video of the person who created it uploading a video about this year's board. Excuse me. My allergies are not happy. And at first, I wasn't going to do it because I already have videos planned to, so it's supposed to be a month-long thing where it's through October 1st through the 31st, but I already have videos planned for the last 2 upload days of October and for the first week of November. And then on top of that, October is going to be a very busy month for me, so I don't want to play the game and then only be able to do like 2 or 3 rolls, which you totally can, but I just don't want to do that. So today is September 20th, so I am technically not following the rules. I'm breaking the rules, but here's the thing. The day that I plan on uploading my reading vlog for this, which will be this video, will be, I think, October 15th or around there. So the amount of days I end up playing this game will be less than if I did it the 1st through the 31st of October. So I feel like it kind of balances out because the amount of time I'll be playing the game is less. I hope that makes sense. Also, my life, my rules. I want to play this, but I know if I wait till October 1st, I will only have about 2 weeks. And that's just not as fun. So, I have my board printed out. I have my cards printed out, all the prompts in the books and everything written on them. I will try to remember to link the video of the creator of this game down below. So that you can go watch it if you've never heard of it. But I printed out all of the rules because, again, I've never played this before. Also, it's like a Monopoly board. Couldn't tell by the name, could you? And then all of the spaces have reading prompts on them, and they all mean different things, and some of them are not super self-explanatory. So this has all of the explanations in them. So I just figured I'd print it out so I don't have to keep going on my phone to figure things out if I get confused. In a second, I'm going to do the first roll with you guys. So, excuse me. Hey, I'm going to try to make the prompts work for as many of my TBR books as possible. That's going to be where I try to pull books from first. First starting with my monthly TBR, and then if I don't have anything to fit the prompt in there, then I'll go to my seasonal TBR, and then if I don't have anything to fit the prompt in there, I'll just go to wherever. So the chance cards right here, you're supposed to put books on them, and I decided to not put books from my TBR on here. Also, you're supposed to have like 16 of each type. I only printed out 10 because I figured like it's, even if I landed only on chance spots, there's no way I'm going to read more than 10 books in the amount of time that I have. So I figured 10 was enough. I just went on the app where I track all of my books and reading and everything, which I think is called the Bookshelf app, I think. And I just went into the different categories. So first I went into horror, and I wrote down the titles of all the books that I hadn't read yet, and then when I ran out of those, I went to thrillers. So that's what's in here. And then these cards, the community shelf cards, are all prompts, and I have 10 of these also. And honestly, I just kind of wrote down random prompts, like the first 10 things that came to my mind. So those are in there. I tried to make them different. So this is gonna be a little rambly in the beginning, but I tried to make the prompts a little bit different from the prompts that I'm going to be introducing into my October TBR game, which that video will be up before this one. But in my September TBR game, I wanted it to be as simple as possible because it's the first time I ever done anything like that. So literally I just stacked my books up and I random number generated 8 books. Next month, which will be the month you're watching this, October, for that TBR, which that video will already be up, so you may already know this. Apologies, but in this current time, in the past when I'm filming this, I have not done it yet. But I decided that I kind of want to make it a little bit more interesting and a little bit more challenging. And I decided that I'm going to have a little bucket with prompts in it. Some of them are prompts, some of them are like challenges, and some of them are actually like things that help me out to kind of reduce the amount of books I have. So they're all jumbled up in there together. So I could get a punishment or a reward. There's no knowing. But the way that I did it, I could use dice to roll, and then I could just pull one of those on doubles. But I think I'm going to try my original idea first, which is I was using a random number generator on my phone for September, and I think I'm going to pull a prompt every time I roll a prime number. I'm going to try that out for October, and we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't go that great, then maybe I'll start using dice. The only thing is, like, I have too many books. So the way I'm doing my monthly TBRs is I'm pulling from my seasonal TBR, and I have too many books on my seasonal TBR to really use dice. So I think I'm going to go with the prime number thing. Anywho, that's not what you're here for. Okay, we're going to take a look at the board and do our first roll. Okay, so here's the board. Sorry if the angle's a little weird. I was going to hold the camera by hand, but it was just a little too shaky. So here's the board. I printed it out, all miniature-like. I've got my 2 dice, which this one is so cute. I don't even know if you'll be able to see. It has a little bat in there. Can you see it? It's so cute. And I'm just going to use this little Jack Skellington miniature ornament that I found sitting on my nightstand. So he's very round, so he likes to roll. So maybe next time I'll look for something different, but that's gonna have to be it for now. So I am going to be doing this as like roll as I go, since I already have an October. Well, I don't already have one. By the time you see this, I will have already had one, but I want to make my October TBR in the way that I did my September one. Also, I can't really make my October TBR because I'm not done with my September one yet. So anyway, we're gonna roll. I'm actually gonna move these because I kind of want to roll in the middle of the thing. So we'll just put those off to the side. What did I get? 7? Cool. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's hilarious. That's so funny. But I was just talking about how even if I landed on a chance spot every single roll, I won't run out of them, and I land on a chance spot first. Okay, so we're gonna pull, actually, here, I'm gonna kind of like shuffle these up a little bit because they're still in the order that I wrote them down. Okay, so that's honestly kind of hilarious, but also kind of annoying because I didn't want to start by picking a book that's not anywhere on my TBR. So, oh, actually, I got the one this is amazing, you guys. The hilariousness of this so far is amazing. So I got In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware, and this is the only book in this entire stack that is on one of my TBRs. This is on my seasonal TBR right now. That is so dang funny. I just find that so funny. So that is the book that we are going to start with. I finished In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware, and I gave this book 3.5 stars. I feel like, honestly, for the first like 75% of the book, I was thinking that there was a potential that it would be either a 4 or 5 star. Because I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the book. So we're following a, what is her name? Nora? Her name is Leonora. When she was younger, she had a best friend named Claire, and Claire called her Lee. She hated being called Lee, but Claire kind of jumped the gun. She was trying to get her name out, and all she got out was Lee. And Claire was like, oh, cool, that's your name, so I'm going to call you that from now on. But she didn't like it. So now as an adult, she insists that people call her Nora. It does kind of play a part in the book, but I don't really know why I'm telling you that. Anyway, her name is Nora, and she is an author, kind of reclusive, and one day she gets an email about being invited to basically a bachelorette party. But this book takes place in Britain, so they call it a hen do. I don't really know what that's supposed to mean. Like, the bachelorette is a hen, like a hen. Anyway, she gets invited to the bachelorette party of her ex-best friend, Claire. She is no longer friends with her. She's been out of touch with her for about 10 years, and we don't know why. But there was some kind of falling out. But they have a mutual friend that she does kind of run into from time to time in London, where she lives now. So she immediately messaged her, asked if they should go. They both decide they're going to go. They don't really know why they're going, but they go. And some sketchiness ensues. I can't really say anything else besides that without spoilers. But, I mean, I think this book's been out for quite a while now. Anyway, I think that this book did a really good job with making you question who the culprit was. I feel like when you get to the end and you find out who did it, it's so obvious, and I guessed who it was pretty much right away. Like maybe a third of the way through the book, I figured out who it was, and I figured out the motive, and I was hoping I was wrong because it just felt too obvious. You know what I mean? I feel like the book did a good job as I was reading it, though, from the point where I was like, oh, I know who it was, I know who did it, and I know why they did it. I feel like they did do a good job of trying to confuse you and like muddy the waters and no calling me. And try and get you to like constantly change your mind about who you think it could be, because everybody has a motive. As happens with thriller books. But I don't know. I enjoyed it enough. I gave it 3.5 stars, but I really wish that the ending had ended up being different, just because it was the most, in my opinion, the most obvious and the most cliche possibility. But it was still a fun time. So 3.5 stars. I'm gonna go ahead and do my next roll. Hopefully I'll be able to do some updates as I'm reading the next book. I didn't do any updates on this because I was reading over the weekend and I just didn't have a chance. But we're gonna figure out our next book. Hopefully I can fit some of my TBR books on there. I did also start Bridgerton last night, so that's probably not going to fit in this, but we're going to make our roll. Okay, so I have my little Jack, and he's supposed to be right here on this chance thing. I'm going to go ahead and kind of move these off to the side real quick so I have space to roll. But I have my dice. 7. Okay, I think I rolled a 7 last time too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ghost face. Let's see, I have the little instructions here. So let's see what ghost face is supposed to be, because I don't remember. Okay, I landed on ghost face, which is to choose a book with a sound in the title. So like a sound word. What does it say specifically? Yeah, a sound related word in the title or series title. I struggled with this one. I came up with 3 options. I don't have any, and they're kind of like obscure options. I don't have any that have like an outright sound word in the title, like yell or scream or ring or like song or anything like that. You would think that I would. I'm honestly shocked that I don't. I came up with 3 options that I feel are all equally as obscure. Shatter Me and White Crow and Babel. Now, 2 of those are on my seasonal TBR. Babel is not. So I figured, since I feel like they're all kind of equally as obscure, none of them really fit super well, I decided to exclude Babel because I would rather pick something that's on my seasonal TBR. So that leaves me with Shatter Me, shatter being the sound word, and White Crow, crow being the sound word. I ended up going with White Crow because I feel like crow maybe makes a little bit more sense for a sound word. Maybe a little bit. And then also it's shorter. So yeah, I'm going with White Crow by Marcus Sedgwick. That. This is a book that's been sitting in my bookcase for I don't even know how long. A very, very long time. I have no idea what it's about. That's how long it's been sitting there. But it looks like it'll be a relatively quick-ish read. What is this? Yeah, 232 pages, looks like. So, hopefully I can get this read pretty quickly. I feel like I'm moving through this board relatively quickly. I've gotten 2 7s in a row, so I am on my way. Yeah, I'm gonna read that. Hopefully I have a chance to do a check-in. This is like set up very interestingly. It's like, it almost looks like diary entries. They have like dates. There's like dates on some of them, and some of them are like old dates, and then some of them just have like sayings at the top, and then some of them have like more current dates, and it's just very interesting. And like some of them have titles instead of dates. I don't really know what's going on here, but I'm intrigued, so I'm gonna read this. I don't know how long it's gonna take me because I am also reading Bridgerton, and I did want to get this done this month, and it's already the 25th. So I actually wanted to do my wrap up on Friday. I don't think that's gonna happen, honestly. Oh, I have like hot Cheetos in my fingernails. Sorry about that. Gross. I was actually contemplating doing my wrap up today because this will definitely get finished by the end of the month, and I don't think I'm gonna get anything else finished by the end of the month. Possibly this, possibly. but we'll see. I don't know. I feel like maybe I should wait. Maybe I'll wait till the last day of the month. Anyway, you guys don't care about this right now. I'm gonna I'm going to read White Crow, and I'll see you in a second. Okay, I know the lighting is horrible right here, but I thought I'd pop in with a little update on White Crow, and I'm about halfway through the book, and so far it feels like it has the potential to be 4 or 5 stars. Not too much has happened, but the format of the book is really interesting. So all the chapters are really short, and they're not even broken. It's not chapters really. We're bouncing back and forth between 3 different points of view. One is the main character, Rebecca, who's just moved to a very small town because her father was involved in a situation where his negligence may have caused the death of somebody, and he's kind of trying to escape that for a little bit, although it has followed them. And she obviously hates it. She doesn't want to be there. So we're bouncing between her perspective, the perspective of another girl named Fairlith, who is from that town, who is kind of a self-proclaimed genius who decided that school no longer had anything to offer her, so she dropped out, and both of her parents kind of abandoned her in a way, and now she lives in this like house up on the hill where all of the misfit people from the town live, in this like commune style house. And she is a little bit morbid, and she doesn't have any friends, and she's kind of desperate to make Rebecca be her friend, but she's a little creepy. There's something off about her, and Rebecca senses it, but she can't really tell what it is. And then the third perspective is of a priest back in the 1700s, I believe. Yeah, back in like the 1790s. Back when the town was a bit bigger, I believe, or like when the town was first founded. I'm not sure. But back way when, there was a doctor who rolled into town, and him and this doctor kind of conspired together on this project. And I really don't want to say much more than that because it'll kind of give it away. So far, if I were to say it right now, it doesn't feel like it would be a spoiler. But since I haven't finished the book, it has a potential to be a spoiler, so I'm not sure and I don't want to say it. But basically, this priest is constantly battling between praising himself for being so pious and also worrying about his eternal soul and like thinking that he's not good enough, and then also talking about this project that he's conspired with the doctor to do. There's a lot of talk about good versus evil, God versus the devil, hell versus heaven. A lot of that in here. And I think that this is going to end up being real creepy. And I'm really excited. This is not a long book. So it's not a long book. And on top of that, there's a lot of space on the pages that are empty. Just because like there's a lot of pages like this where it's like that's all that's on the page. So the book is even shorter than it looks. Yeah, literally like, so I don't really know. It's definitely going to be like a gothic horror for sure. I wasn't sure when I started reading it what genre it was going to be, And I think I speculated that it would be a gothic horror, but yeah, definitely gonna be that. It's definitely slow and creeping right now, but not in a boring way. And I think that the structure of the book helps to make it not feel like it's dragging on. I think hopping between perspectives every single chapter, and then the chapters being short and some of them being like ultra short to the point where they're like 2 lines, I think is helping keep the pace up. And then, so the 2 perspectives of the 2 girls in like current times are not, they're not really like, I don't know. Rebecca's kind of seems like it's just her perspective, but not like a diary entry style. Feralith's almost reads like a diary entry, but it's kind of not. And then the priest's is definitely a diary entry. Like his like has a date at the top of every, well, I mean, they all do, but that's the priest's, what his dates look like. It's interesting. I hadn't even thought about it till now. The priest's diary entries, which his read like diary entries, have dates at the top. Rebecca's like POV has dates at the top, but then all of Feralith's POVs don't have dates. They have like titles, and it's almost like Feralith is viewing the spans of time in experiences rather than in dates. And I hadn't thought of that until now, but that's quite interesting. I really want to find out more about Feralith because she seems like a very strange creature. She was described as like not looking quite human at the beginning. Like obviously she's human, but there's something about her that just looks off. Like that's just not quite right. Anyway, I feel like I'm dragging this on, but I can't wait to read this. And the next clip, I will be done because this is pretty short, so I'm real excited. Although I am going to try and drag this out until tomorrow and finish it tomorrow because tomorrow is October 1st. And I want this to count towards my October TBR. So, yeah. Honestly, I may look into some of this guy's other books because I'm really liking this one so far. Anyway, moving on. I finished White Crow. I really liked this. I thought this was so interesting. I'm not sure what I'm going to rate it yet. I literally just finished reading it right now. Definitely at least 4 stars, but I'm thinking maybe 5 stars. I need to kind of let it sit for a little bit, I think. Yeah, I just thought this was, I don't know. The little, I pretty much never read the author's notes. But I read them on here and they are actually, it was only 2 pages. I don't want to show you because it's like right next to the last page, and if you want to read it, I don't want to spoil it. But there's a character in this book. There's a doctor, like back in the 1700s, and he's based on a real doctor from during the French Revolution, and the things that this doctor does in this book is based on something that the doctor actually did, and it's so interesting. And I can't say what it is because it'll spoil the book. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I don't even know what to say. I can't remember if I told you guys what this book was about before. I don't think I did. But we're following a girl. I think the two main girls are in high school. They're high school age. One of them, like, it's summer break, I think. But the main character has moved to a really, really, really small town for the summer because her father has been accused in the media of being the reason that something terrible happens, even though he wasn't directly involved. Is that he made a bad call and it resulted in something terrible happening. So they've kind of run away for the summer, and she obviously hates it. She kind of hates her father for putting her through all of this. She blames him. And she meets a girl in the town named Fairlith. And I do think it's kind of funny that her name is Fairlith. I'm not sure what that means, if it has a meaning, but she is kind of feral, honestly. She is of high school age, but she's no longer in high school. She doesn't say she graduated early. It just says she left school because she knew all there was to know, or she had learned all they could teach her. And they kind of strike up this strange friendship, like they're friends, but like Rebecca, the main character, doesn't trust Fairlith because she puts her in some interesting positions. I don't really know how to describe this book. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about it because I really don't know what to say. But it was good. It's like a gothic horror, I guess. All the blurbs on the back and stuff say that, like, this is so terrifying. I didn't really find it scary, honestly. Creepy in some parts, sure, but not scary, like, really at all. But anyway, I finished the book. It is October 2nd. I was hoping to finish it last night. Honestly, I had 3 pages left and I just didn't finish it. But we're gonna roll for our next book. So let's change positions. Okay, I'm gonna film it like this because the way I was filming it before, I had the camera on the tripod and it just seemed like a really strange angle. So hopefully this is better, but it might be a little shaky. I left off on Ghostface. So 4. And we're on Blood. Okay, we got Blood, and that is a book with a red cover. I don't think I have any other books. I read one last month that I would say was a red cover, but I don't have any that are fully red. I have some that have red on them. Yeah, I don't think, let's see. Let me go into my little app. So this is the app that I use to keep track of all the books that I own. So let me see which ones I have with a red cover. Honestly, I think Dreadful is probably the only one that I own that has a mostly red cover, but I'm not reading that. I just DNF'd it last month. So I'm not doing that. I have a few books on my TBR that have red on the cover, like a good amount of red on the cover, but it's not mostly red or all red. I'm just going to interpret it as red on the cover. And for that, I have Lightlark and I have Skein Island has red on it, but I think Lightlark might make more sense because it has more red, but this also has a red spine. I think I'm gonna go with Lightlark just because I feel like the red on here is just more thematically appropriate. So Lightlark is going to be next. I'm a little nervous about this book. I did read the first chapter already last month. The prologue and the first chapter. So I'd be starting on chapter 2. Which is where? There we go. Yeah. I'm nervous about this because I hope I don't hate it. Not because I have high expectations for the book, but because I just don't want to read a book that I hate. So yeah, this one is next. I don't think I mentioned how I'm playing this game in terms of like how many rolls I plan on doing. I don't have a specific number in mind. I'm just going to keep rolling until I'm out of time before I need to like wrap this vlog up and edit it and post it. That's pretty much my plan. So I'm just going to try and get as many books in as I can before that. It's the 2nd. I think I'm posting this vlog on the 15th, which means I'll need to have it finished and ready to edit no later than the 14th, hopefully before that. But that means I've got roughly a week to a week and a half to read more books. I think my average like time for completing a book, I think, is about 3 to 4 days. So, given that, hopefully I can read 2 more books after this before I have to update. Hopefully. But anyway, that's that. Just thought I'd explain that in case I didn't, because I don't remember. Okay. I finished the book. I don't think I did any updates on this one, mostly because I just didn't have time, and then I was reading it over the weekend, but I finished it this morning and I actually enjoyed it. To be fair, I think a big reason why I enjoyed this book is because I went in expecting not to. I'm pretty sure I explained this in another video, but I bought this book because people were saying they didn't like it. And my thought process was that if the people who were saying they didn't like it liked the books that I didn't like, then maybe I would like it. But I still went into it expecting not to like it. Or I guess more accurately, I went in with 0 expectations. And I gave this book 4 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. Now, with that said, you do kind of need to suspend your disbelief like a lot in this book. Is the writing great? No. But was it a good time? Yes. And generally speaking, I don't tend to do my star ratings solely based off of whether or not I had a good time. But I feel like I had such a great time. It was just fun that it kind of elevated my rating a little bit. The writing, some of the naming conventions, like the names of all the different realms, is lazy. There are a lot of like metaphors made in here that are repeated multiple times that probably shouldn't have been, because it kind of loses its impact after, you know, the first time or the second time. And the world building is shaky. I feel like you're left to fill in a lot of gaps on your own, which can be a little confusing because like I said, you need to suspend your disbelief a decent amount, just because so many things don't make a lot of sense. And the way I enjoyed this book was by just focusing on the events at hand and not really focusing too much about how they came to be, which, to be fair, maybe should lower my star rating a little bit more. And I know a lot of the people who are saying they didn't like this book, a lot of them, not all of them, but a good amount of them didn't even read the book. They were just mad about how the book came to be, and I don't really know much about that. So, I don't know, maybe that would have soured my experience a little bit more had I, like, known. Really, all I know about that is people were upset about, like, the author getting a deal through, like, making a TikTok and then a publishing agency, like, reaching out to her because of her TikTok. That's really all I know. But I guess she was doing some, like, annoying and kind of sketchy things. But as far as the story itself, yeah, I can't argue that the writing is a little lazy. Some of the dialogue is kind of cringy. Honestly, I did enjoy the book, and I will be reading the second one because I want to know what happens. I'm going to keep my rating at 4 stars. Yeah. Because for me, a 3-star is a book that I mildly enjoyed. Probably wouldn't recommend to most people unless the book was something I specifically knew that they would enjoy. And I don't know, maybe this is more like a 3.5. Because as much as I had fun with it, I feel like the writing and the lack of world building, it wasn't even necessarily a lack of world building. It's just that the world she tried to create was so much more complex than she fleshed out. Does that make sense? So maybe I'm going to have to change it to a 3.5, but I still will be reading the second one because I did have a good time. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next roll. I think this might be the last roll of the video because it took me longer to read this than I expected. And I only have a week left, or possibly less than a week. I have a max of a week left before I need to edit this video and put it up. So I'm hoping I can get through 2 more books, but this could possibly be the last roll. So let's get to it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do my 4th roll, I think. Seven. What? How many 7s have I gotten? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we got Ghost Tour. Okay, I'm gonna have to look up what that is real quick. Okay, so Ghost Tour is a book with a historical element, and I am going with The Arrival of Missives by Elia Whitley. And this is taking place after World War I. I don't really know much else about that. It takes something about rural England. Why? I cannot say that word. In the aftermath of the Great War, Shirley Fern dreams of challenging the conventions of rural England, where life is as predictable as the changing of seasons. The scarred veteran, Mr. Tiller, left disfigured by an impossible accident on the battlefields of France, brings with him a message, part prophecy, part warning. Will it prevent her mastering her own destiny? As the village prepares for the annual May Day celebrations, where a new queen will be crowned and the future will be reborn again, Shirley must choose change or renewal. So that gives me really no information to go off of, but it's short. So, how many pages is this? This is 171 pages. I don't know if I'll have time to get it done today, but maybe by tomorrow I could have it done. That would be great. Look how little. So if I could get this done by tomorrow, then I could do another roll tomorrow, Or if I get it done late tomorrow, maybe I could do another roll on Wednesday and then get another book done. Exciting. I know this game you're supposed to do at least 5 rolls, but that's just not going to work out for me. Well, it might, because this is roll number 4. So if I can roll another book, that'll be number 5. Anyway, we're going to getting on with this. Actually, before I do that, let me tell you, rude, what Lightlark is about, because I realize I did not tell you. Everybody probably already knows. Did I tell you when I first rolled it in? I don't know. If I did, maybe I'll cut this out. But this is following a young ruler in a world where all the different realms that exist, which are really just like different mini kingdoms that are kind of all under the rule of the main kingdom, are all under a curse. The curse manifests differently depending on the realm, because the different realms have different magical powers. And every 100 years, the main kingdom island is uncloaked from its like storm that encases it, so that all the rulers can come together for 100 days and try to break the curses. And that's what this is about. Anyway, we're gonna get on with the arrival of missives. All right, I finished The Arrival of Missives, and this book was different than I thought it would be. I was not expecting it to have some of the elements that it did. I'm really not sure what genre to call this. It's definitely historic fiction, but then it's also kind of sci-fi-ish. And then I was like looking it up, but I couldn't find a definitive answer, and some place said that it was like speculative fiction. I don't even really know what constitutes speculative fiction, to be honest, but it was very interesting. So the book was a little shorter than I thought it was, because there's also a short story at the end of it. So the actual book was only about 130 pages. So I don't know that I would consider this a novel like it says here. It's definitely not a full-length novel. This is really more like a novella. So I did end up giving this 4 stars, because this was another one where I just wasn't sure what to rate it. It definitely didn't feel like a 5-star, because it didn't give me the 5-star feels, but the writing was great. The story was so interesting, and I don't think I've read a story like this where, and I know there's plenty of them out there, I just personally haven't read one, where the plot is really not the point. The point is really more the decisions that the main character is making given the situations that she's put in. So it was very interesting. So this is about a 17-year-old girl who lives on a farm in a very small, like rural town. It doesn't say where she is in the world, but this takes place shortly after World War I, and there is a new-ish, like, schoolmaster in town, and sorry. My asthma's been acting up. It's super annoying. Apologies. But she believes herself to be in love with him, and he is like an injured war vet, and eventually she finds out a secret about him, which I guess I can say the secret because I feel like saying the secret is really not a spoiler to anything, but essentially he is partially fused with a rock. It is like he was injured in the war, and now there is a rock filling all of the gaps where he was injured, and has fused with his body. And she finds that out, and when she does, everything kind of unravels from there. And this is really more of her being put into a situation that she's struggling with coming to terms with, because on one hand, it puts her in a position that she wants to be in, kind of, but she doesn't like that it's being like forced on her in a way. And then that situation kind of spirals into her being in the one position that she never wanted to be in, and how she handles that. I feel like that was very vague, but this is so short that I feel like pretty much anything I tell you would be a spoiler, and I wouldn't want to spoil it because I feel like it was actually really good and the writing was really nice. So I gave this 4 stars. Honestly, yeah, I feel like 4 stars is appropriate for this. I was thinking also that maybe it wouldn't be quite 4 stars because I don't know if it's something I would read again. However, I do think I would read it again in order to annotate it, so we're going to keep it at 4 stars. So that's actually going to be the last book of this video, and I know that with Spookopoly, the rule is that you're supposed to do minimum of 5 rolls, and I've only done 4. So I've only finished 4 books, but I need to get this video up next week, and I'm just not going to have time to read another book and film another update before it has to be up. So I'm just going to cut it here for this one, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to film a part 2, but instead of capping myself at 6 and then whatever doubles adds on, I'm going to just keep going until I run out of time again before I need to post the video, like whenever I have it planned to go up, which I think is in the middle of November, if I'm not mistaken. So, I'm not sure. Sometime in November. I think it's no later than the middle of November. So hopefully I will get quite a few books read with the Spookopoly board. But that's going to end it here. So the first book we read was... Let me pull this up so I remember what star ratings I gave it. I have not read 5. I was just confused because I thought I read... No, I guess I read Bridgerton after In a Dark, Dark Wood. Anyway, on my little thing it says I only read 4, so I don't know why I keep thinking I read Bridgerton for this. I don't think I did. Anyway, whatever. The first book I read was In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware, and I gave this 3.5 stars. The second book I read was White Crow by Marcus Sedgwick, and I gave this 4 stars. The third book was Lightlark, and this is by Alex Astor, and I gave this 3.5 stars. Honestly, I'm still struggling with my rating for this because just based on pure enjoyment, it was a 5-star. And the writing wasn't the best. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. And I feel like it should be knocked down a little bit for that. And then I'm just struggling with how weighted my enjoyment of the book should be compared to how weighted the actual like quality of the writing and the world building and the plot should be. I know some people, if they like thoroughly enjoy a book and plot holes and poor world building didn't take them out of the story, they'll just like ignore that. I feel like I can't do that. So I'm just going to stick with my 3.5 stars, even though I did really enjoy this. Excuse me. And then, of course, the last book was The Arrival of Missives. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for part 2 sometime in November.